Knowledge Archive. Nelson Mandela, 1918–2013. Statesman and Philanthropist. Words of Wisdom. It always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader, and philanthropist who served as President of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election, gaining international acclaim for his activism. Widely regarded as an icon of democracy and social justice, he received more than 250 honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize. Nelson Mandela's political development was strongly influenced by his legal training and practice, in particular his hope to achieve change not through violence but through legal revolution. He had exhibited a commitment to the values of democracy and human rights. He held a conviction that inclusivity, accountability and freedom of speech were the fundamentals of democracy, and was driven by a belief in natural and human rights. Over the course of his life, he began by advocating a path of nonviolence, later embracing violence, and then adopting a nonviolent approach to negotiation and reconciliation. When endorsing violence, he did so because he saw no alternative, and was always pragmatic about it, perceiving it as a means to get his opponent to the negotiating table. He sought to target symbols of white supremacy and racist oppression rather than white people as individuals, and was anxious not to inaugurate a race war in South Africa. Nelson Mandela served 27 years in prison. His international fame had emerged during his incarceration in the 1980s, when he became the world's most famous prisoner, a symbol of the anti-apartheid cause, and an icon for millions who embraced the ideal of human equality. In 1986, Mandela's biographer characterized him as the embodiment of the struggle for liberation in South Africa. "I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to see realized. But if it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Mandela's Rivonia trial speech, 1964. Amid growing domestic and international pressure, and with fears of a racial civil war, President F.W. de Klerk released him in 1990. Mandela and de Klerk led efforts to negotiate an end to apartheid, which resulted in the 1994 multiracial general election in which Mandela led the ANC to victory and became president. Leading a broad coalition government which promulgated a new constitution, Mandela emphasized reconciliation between the country's racial groups and created the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to investigate past human rights abuses. Emphasizing personal forgiveness and reconciliation, he announced that courageous people do not fear forgiving, for the sake of peace. Within a decade of the end of his presidency, Mandela's era was being widely thought of as a golden age of hope and harmony. Across the world, Mandela earned international acclaim for his activism in overcoming apartheid and fostering racial reconciliation. By the time of his death, within South Africa, Mandela was widely considered both the father of the nation and the founding father of democracy. Outside of South Africa, he was a global icon, with the scholar of South African studies Rita Barnard describing him as one of the most revered figures of our time. Some have portrayed Mandela in messianic terms, in contrast to his own statement that I was not a messiah, but an ordinary man who had become a leader because of extraordinary circumstances. Thanks for watching. Knowledge Archive.